Hello, good morning, everyone, and thank you for being with us today.
I am Neil Angelo Peteros, and this is my partner.
Fergus Jalan Harina,
And we will be
and
your
we'll be
hosts
your host
for
for
today's
today's
Disable the
Disable the
Label
Label
webinar.
webinar. So, to start the program, we would like to introduce you to Lydia Vince Miranda to give us the opening remarks.
To be followed by our opening prayer, which will be led by Patricia Mendoza.
So good morning, everyone. Once again, I am Lidorvins A. Miranda. I am a third-year physical therapy student of Velez College, and along with my classmates here, we welcome you to the Disable the Label webinar. In line with our course on community-based rehabilitation, we are conducting this webinar wherein we aim to empower people with orthopedic disabilities and disability prevention, COVID-19 vaccination, and orthopedic rehabilitation. Mr. JP Ecarma Maunes, CEO of Philippine Accessible Disability Service Incorporated, and Dr. Kenneth Ng, Physical Medicine and Rehabilitation Specialist, will be sharing their experiences and expertise in their respective fields. And to start things off, let us welcome Patricia Mendoza to lead us in prayer.
So let us put ourselves in the most holy presence of the Lord as we say, in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Lord, thank you for this wonderful opportunity that you have bestowed upon us today, for we are able to have a webinar where we can learn from our speakers who are truly powerful in their own field of expertise. May we able to use the knowledge we will gain in this webinar for the betterment of society and our future endeavors. Lord, may you continue to protect and cover us and our loved ones during these dark and scary times. Lastly, shower us with your love as we continue to do things for your greater glory. Amen. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Thank you, Lydia and Patricia. So, Nelson, are you ready for today's webinar?
Yes, Daps. I can't wait to hear about what the speakers have for us today. And without further ado, let us now begin the program. So before we proceed, we would like to introduce our speakers for today's webinar.
So, our first speaker is the CEO of Philippine Accessibility Disability Services Incorporated, or also known as PADS, and the team manager at PADS Adaptive Dragon Boat Racing Team. Let us welcome Sir James JP Maunes to speak about PWD empowerment.
Sir, your mic is on mute.
All right. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to talk about the work that I do and also to share to you the stories uh, that we have. I'm deeply excited to share to you the story and the impact of community-based rehabilitation and the program of PADS to a few of our athletes. Um, it is an honor for me to represent PADS in this um, convention, and I am truly grateful to meet you all. So I hope that you will be able to learn and be inspired of the story and the work that we do, and being able to replicate uh, the impact of the advocacy of PADS to the line of work that we will be doing soon in the future. So to start my presentation, I would like to share to you this video of the work of PADS.
Voter support for certain interest San Miguel, Giramota.
Bakit mo naman inaway?
Kwento pa ng JP. Dalawang linggo niya na ginagawa.
So in 2005, we started PADS, as a volunteering organization. We started as a backpacker organization where we meet with a few volunteers. every Sunday to provide interpreting services and to be able to meet, the deaf community on our free time. And in 2005, we got the opportunity to be legally registered, and we saw that there's a need, to fill in the gap, to provide opportunities and accessibility for deaf people, particularly in news programs. So we piloted in 2016, the first ever television news interpreting through TV Patrol Central Visayas. And we got a huge break in 2013 during the presidential debates, uh, by providing sign language interpreting, uh, and that went viral. And we were able to actually lobby uh, the passing of Filipino Sign Language Act, which is to recognize Filipino Sign Language as an official language of the Filipino deaf community. And in 2019, October of 2019, President Rodrigo Duterte signed the law, recognized the law, which is the Filipino Sign Language Act of 2019. So now, as you can see, you have seen in televisions and news programs all over the country that there are Filipino sign language interpreters. So we won't take the credit for that, because it is a huge effort uh, from our friends, from the deaf community leaders also. But we are also proud to say that, we have contributed to the lobbying of the passing of this law in our own little way here in Cebu. In 2016, I had the opportunity uh, to be invited and be trained under the United States State Department through the University of Tennessee through their Global Sports Mentoring Program. And this is to use sports, together with 16 other leaders all over the world, to create an action plan in our own country, to use sport as a platform to create change. And after my short stint in the US, I went back to the Philippines and started the PADS Adaptive Sports Program. So PADS has been running as an organization for quite some time now. And in 2016, we shifted our program towards, in 2016, we shifted our program towards adaptive sports and community-based rehabilitation, or through recreational rehabilitation. So I would like to share to you the presentation of the work that we have been doing through the PowerPoint. So the title of my presentation is Destined to Greatness. So I would like to share to you the story of the PADS Adapted Dragon Boat Racing Team and the faces behind this program. So the photo that you have seen now is our group photo after our medals award, after the medal ceremony at the 2019 IDBF World Dragon Boat Championships, which was held in Pattaya, Thailand. We're in the team, the first ever Dragon Boat team composing of persons with disabilities. Won 4 gold medals and a new world record for the Para Dragon category. So we represented the Philippines during this time, and this is truly as you can say, a proud moment for our country and for the athletes. But before that, I am sharing to you the story of the different phases behind this team and and why this team has been very successful. So next slide, please. But first, I think most of you are not yet familiar what Dragon Boat is. No, most of the time, people would be confused even with the term. So they would say, uh, aside from Dragon Boat, they would interchange it to Dragon Ball. So let me talk to you about what Dragon Boat is. Okay, so Dragon Boat started 2,000 years ago, no, in China, and it has been part of their annual festivities. No, uh, Dragon Boat was started by one of their heroes in China, and when he was an honorable man, but when he was accused of corruption, no, he ended his life and jumped into the cliff, no, at the Yuan River. And when the fishermen heard about the incident, they raced towards the site and beating their drums, splashing on the water just to let the fishes, no, to scare the fishes from eating the body of Cho Yuan, and that became an annual celebration um, for the Chinese people. But uh, in the Philippine history, uh, the Filipinos, no, before the Spaniards came, we have long been known as a paddling country, as a paddling culture. As a matter of fact, in the Visayan regions, it was recorded by Pigafetta, no, that uh, the the people here in the Visayas region are known to be. We have this paddling culture known through this very popular worship, which is called the Karakoa. Okay, so the Karakoa is a worship by our ancestors, and it's powered by uh, people, no, paddling, and this is we wanted to relive, no, and revive this culture through Dragon Boat racing. So it's not far from Dragon Boat. So Dragon Boat, there are three major positions in Dragon Boat if you want to try this sport. First is, okay, Rosedin, press. It's the steersman. So the steersman, he's the helm of the boat. So he's the one that um, drives the boat so that dili mo muliko sa pikas lane, no. The second role is the drummer. uh, that person brings the program, no. The person also, usually it's the coach, is also the team leader, and he's also responsible for reading the race. Okay, he makes sure that the team gets to be synchronized. Also, he makes sure na the drive continues, no, from start to finish. Okay, and the last role in Dragon Boat is the paddlers. Okay, so they are the ones that are the driving force of this team. So they're composed of different. It doesn't matter. They don't. Dragon Boat does not choose gender, no, whether you are a female, male, or member of the LGBT, or you have disability. Okay, the important thing about Dragon Boat racing is that you learn how to be synchronized, and you learn how to work together as a team, and being able to finish what you have started during the race. So that's Dragon Boat racing. So Dragon Boat is won by split seconds. So there are different distances, not 20 categories also that you want to race when you try Dragon Boat racing. So hopefully after this talk, I maybe a few of you would want to try dragon boat racing, no? So next slide. So we started in 2016. So during this time, I had a hard time actually um, launching the adaptive sports program here in Cebu because it has been quite challenging, particularly in the Philippines, because there's a few available resources in terms of uh, sports facility. Uh, while when we want to uh, encourage persons with disability to engage in sport, it's also challenging because there is a huge requirement in terms of assistive device and also equipments related to disability sports. So I've met a few players, no athletes, uh, who were already playing wheelchair basketball, but I've noticed that the wheelchairs that they're using were it's either worn out already, or they're using the wrong type of wheelchair. Most of them were using surplus, were using the hospital wheelchair, or some are just making are just borrowing from the other players. So it was quite um, challenging. Then I found one post in social media through one of my friends that they were trying dragon boat, and that was a eureka moment for me because in dragon boat it's a seated sport, no, and Cebu in particular as a location is a is surrounded by a body of water. So so that's how we were able to choose Dragon Boat as a flagship program. So during this time, no, in 2016, also I was able to meet one of our youngest paddler, and his name is Brian. No? He just got amputated because of a vehicular accident, and he lives in Argao. Um, so when he messaged me in Facebook, I invited him to come to Mandawi City, and this is the first photo of him, learning dragon boat for the first time, and this is uh, the person behind him is Sir Owen, one of our matured paddlers. He also learned dragon boat a few months ahead of Bryle. So this was one of the first photos that we have of him. No, second slide. Um, One of our Sir Owen on the other hand is he's already right now he's already 42 years old. He was born uh, of uh, of physical deformity. Okay, so he's inborn without a left leg and some physical malformations of from his hands and feet. No, he doesn't have any background in sports, and it is quite amazing how they were able to immediately embrace Dragon Boat. I cannot forget one thing that he told me that, you know what, sir, after paddling, he said that um, when we are in water, majority of the time, doctors would say, if you have disability, they would say, please prevent yourself from engaging in water or swimming, or water is something that people would always remind them to get rid of. But when they tried paddling, they said that no, there's so much freedom when they are in water. So it seems that they are a different person. There's so much sense of uh, freedom when they paddle. It's different that they are they're paddling. No, the photo that you're seeing is that we are in Abellana. So in Dragon Boat Racing, since you wanted to synchronize them of the technique and also being able to familiarize themselves with other paddlers, we do pool training. So meaning to say, um, we use the pool not to swim but to actually practice the paddling technique. So this is what we were doing, every afternoon for at least 4 times a week, uh, 4 years ago. So this is uh, this is Sir Owen during one of those photos. Next slide. And then I would like to introduce to you one of the key persons in the team. And he is our team captain, and he's Arnold Balais. I think some of you are already familiar with him, no? If you have seen the Alaksan commercial, and that's the person. And this guy has, he's one of the self-actualized person with disability. Okay, so this person, Sir Arnold, okay, he mentors young athletes, particularly those who have just had their own amputation. So the program of PADS, we provide sports mentoring, particularly those matured ones already, to mentor the young amputees, no? Or those who just had their own disability, because um, uh, sports mentoring is quite a powerful tool to guide and mirror. It's difficult when you have, most of the time it's difficult for a person, particularly young persons who just had their disability. Most of them would think that, okay, they are the only ones having this disability, and it's nice for them to see, adults or self actualized amputees or persons with disabilities, who have already overcome their disability, and to guide them, to provide them support, or even provide psychosocial support for them during the journey of having a disability. Okay, so next slide. So the other character in my story now is also Kent. No, Kent Tumangan. He has a unique uh, case, because he was his case is hip disarticulation because of developing cancer. No, when he was young, uh, he fell. He had an injury because of basketball, and um, he did not went right away to the doctor. So most of the time, no, in our culture, matagak ka sa basketball, you would always say, napiang ra na, to na ipahilot. Okay? Tutas mo na nagbang, patutruan na to. Ngayon, maybe tomorrow, mawagtang na siya. Okay, so they're quite afraid of going to the hospital. I don't know if there's why there is a huge stigma of hospitals. So most of the time, young people, or most of us, in the community, madlok og magpakonsulta ang doctor. So this happened to Kent. And after just going to the manghihilot, okay, later on, a few weeks after, the leg, okay, if you can see the next slide, no? Okay, so his leg naging swell, okay? Ning swell ang iyang tiil, and when they went to the doctor already, so the doctor said na nagdevelop na og na siya ay sarcoma. Okay, and they have to amputate his entire leg. Okay, hip disarticulation, I don't have to maybe emphasize it to you, no, but it is the removal of the entire leg. Okay, so wala na siya bukog, no, sa iyahang leg. Okay, so they have to remove the entire leg, because even the doctor, he told me, sir, what, the doctor told me that I only have 6 months to live, even if they would remove my leg. So after his amputation, no, he decided to just go home against medical advice. Kay mo lagi to gingnan siya sa doctor na you don't, I think you won't last for a year. Okay, so what he did after that was nara siya sa balay, and this guy is fond of yung mga flip flop ba. So one day he went to this flip flop flip flop ano daw rap battle event, no? And then one of our paddlers, si Bral, saw him there and saw him in one of the posts and messaged him if he's interested to try paddling with pads. So immediately this guy without hesitation, um, isugot siya, and I can still remember, uh, he came to our house uh, very early in the morning. So, nanuktok niya sa mong gate mga around 3:30 a.m. just to yung pramusakay sa mo pramusabay sa training. So, and our training starts at around 5 a.m. So, that was the time we met Ken. He was very skinny. He was very not weak man, but he's you can see in him that very low kayang self-esteem. No? So next. So this is the usual scenario. Okay, this is the usual scenario you will see every time you'll be training. The paddlers, they leave their crutches behind the dock in exchange for their paddles. So the paddles become their crutches when they sit on the boat. And if you can see also on the boat, you can never, okay, what have you noticed? When they are all seated in the boat, you can never determine or identify who's disabled and who's not. What's unique about PAD's Dragon Boat team is that the team does not only cater to one disability. The team is composed of blind people, blind paddlers, deaf, amputee, and polio. And what unites them is the sport. So the sport becomes a platform for them, to be able to appear alongside with other athletes. What's beautiful about Dragon Boat is that pag start pa lang, when they're all lining up or from a distance, you can never see, you determine, this is a boat of disabled paddlers. No, really. Mawala ang label. Okay? Mawala ang label. What you see are paddlers, what you see are athletes, what you see are human beings. No? That's the message that we wanted to emphasize to to the people now. When we started the Dragon Boat program, we stopped talking, we stopped lecturing people of what disability is and what all the long talks about disability awareness. We just let the sport do the talking. So from the start, uh, from starting line, they will all line up together with other athletes who doesn't have disability, and the disability disappears there. The disability reappears on the finish line when they were able to finish. And one beautiful part that I will always look forward to is the reaction of the people when they finished the race, because when they get out of the boat, people, you can literally hear the reaction of people being surprised and being able to parang yung sila na suga to na team good mga disabled dito, mga disabled din yung mga paddlers. So that's when the discussion starts about the disability. So yung sila, there's more to disability than being disabled. So mo na makaingon ng mga paddler, makaingon ng mga people na possible na person with disability can actually compete play alongside with other people who doesn't have disability, even on a competitive level. And that's the beauty of adaptive sports. Okay, so next slide. So in Abilian, we during our early stages, we make sure that we train in public areas so people can see, and also we believe that sa Abilian na makita ninyo daghan mag-jogging dito, we believe that of hundreds of people who are jogging and exercising there, we believe na in statistics na one few of them have members who have disability. We also recognize as well that there's still a huge stigma attached to disability in the Philippines. So when they see the athletes training, doing the combat ropes, doing burpees, and then doing all the stuff that they have never seen in their entire life, done by persons with disability, they would, it injects that minute idea, that they will take home. And when they talk to their family members na may mga disability, we are very hopeful na they would encourage them to come out in the open. It's not about, for me, it's not about the person who has disability that is scared to come out in the open, but it's the family also that contributes to that um, idea. And I don't want to come out because my family also is very hesitant for me to go out, because it's not about stigma as well, but it's also about a matter of safety. Okay, with our community not being accessible, from the transportation to our to the buildings, and even to the people who are quite ignorant also of how to address disability. That's a huge contributing factor of why families are scared to let their members to come out in the open. Okay? But we want to change that. We want to change that mindset, and I think sport is a yeah, and we want to weaponize the awareness that there's still of things beyond disability, and that's through sports. Next slide. So this is Braille, no? Going back to Braille, he in May of I think May of 2016. Okay, he met an accident. No, there's this reckless driver who crashed into their motorcycle, and immediately Braille lost his leg. Braille, on the other hand, he was a known active in the community. He is a community youth leader, and he said that during this time when he lost his leg, I think he also lost his dreams of crash down po dito ang yang mga dreams of being able to finish college, or being able to say and achieve what he wanted to do as a regular person. So this was him, during after his amputation, 4 or 5 years ago. Okay, next. Now, when he started with pads, we want to engage him in active lifestyle. So when he started with us, we want to encourage them things that people would say they cannot do. So we promote adaptive fitness. We engage all our members to engage in fitness, because most of the time, people with disabilities, they develop secondary illness because of inactivity. Okay, secondary illness, develop hypertension, depression, uh, and a lot of things because of inactivity. So we want them to divert all that attention and focus all their energy towards active lifestyle. So he engaged one, most of them like Bral, they engage in adaptive fitness. Okay, after that, after a few years, a year after, he started to teach young kids. So in PADS also, we not only cater to people with disability, but now we have developed a junior paddlers program, wherein we teach kids. And you know what's beautiful about this program is that it was not initially initiated by PADS. It was initiated by our athletes. No, one of them is Braille. Okay, so they when they saw that kids were just playing around in our training area, they said that I think sir, it's best for us to offer the program to these kids because I think the way Dragon Boat has provided a pathway for us and help us and impacted our lives, I think it will also make a huge impact to these kids, no? And it's best for them to be introduced by Dragon Boat at a very young age. And with that, I think they have already moved up to another level, and that's being mentors, no? Aside of being athletes, being mentors to young people. So next, uh, so aside from just paddling, Cape, so they have tried a lot of things also. He went to the highest peak uh, in here in Cebu, and they said that during this time though, when he was able to reach to the top, I think this is in Dalagit. I don't think Dalagit ba ni? So it gave him a huge sense of fulfillment ba na to get out of my crutches, from my fears, and from all the things that I have I have thought about all the negativity that attached to my past. So he said that I've conquered it all when he was on top of the mountain. Okay, next slide. Aside from mountain climbing, he tried a lot of things: adaptive scuba diving, also free diving. Okay, next slide. And all stuff, we wanted to provide him, we wanted to provide our athletes, all the opportunities. One of the turning point of the program was when we were invited to represent the Philippines in the 2016 and 2017 International Para Dragon Championships, which was held in Hong Kong. And we are proud to say that we were able to defend the international championship, for the last 2 years, so 2016 and 2017. So which Brian was able to, this was very, this was very emotional for him because a year after his disability, a year after losing his leg, was also he celebrated his first anniversary in Hong Kong. That was the first time for him also uh, to to ride on a plane, to travel abroad and compete internationally. So that was very emotional on his part, and so was the rest of our athletes. So this was the first time that we were able to race internationally, and the second year that we went there, it was already easy for us to take to defend our title. So next slide. Well, Kent, this was him. As you can see in the center photo, this is how huge, the sarcoma has developed in Sayahang right leg, and the back and on the photo of the right hand side, that was him after amputation. They had to remove the entire leg. So, and he was very skinny. Now imagine yourself, no doctor, what would you feel, no, if you're Kent, and doctors would say 6 months, you only have 6 months to live. But uh, one thing that I will never forget was before we went to Hong Kong, in 2017. 2018 to defend our title. That was also the first time for Kent to race with us, no? It was also the first time for him to be able to travel abroad. And we require our athletes to get medical clearance. So it was a blessing in disguise for him because that was the time, also the opportunity for him to go back to his doctor. So when he went back to his doctor, who told him that he only had 6 months to live, no? A year after, when he went inside the door, and the doctor was quite shocked, no? Maingon siya, sir, more nakita magkalag ako ang doctor, sir. And the doctor was really surprised to see him, more than a year after na gingnan siya na you only have 6 months to live. Fast forward 5 years after, he's still here with us, no? Alive, healthy, and, uh, very active. Okay, next slide. So, unsa may resulta nila? So, this is them right now. These are our athletes. From being the weak, going being weak. So, this is them. We had an opportunity to collaborate with Esquire Philippines for a shoot. And they told us, we wanted to shoot persons with disabilities. And I told them, yes, but we don't want to you guys to take a photo of them sa typical na yung charitable object, no? We want to create a new image of persons with disability, and we wanted to share it to them, and this is the result of that photo shoot together with Esquire Philippines. Okay, the next slide. So while waiting for the other photos, so with the photo, diba? Who would have thought? Okay, it never came into your mind na this is the portrait that you will be able to attach towards disability. Okay, so it so we wanted to change the paradigm of how people see persons with disability. There's more to disability. Okay, it's just one, one dot. It's a bigger picture. Na, but and the question there is, there's a lot of things people say would ask us, sir, what's the right um, term, or if you want to be technical about how do we call our athletes, how do we call persons with disabilities, also may mga correct political terms or to call for people with disabilities, and you would easily say to them, just call them by their name. Why do we have to like label them? Why do we have to label people according to their disability? If you want it, it's the same thing as, it's about relating to human diversity. Okay, so that's the beauty of sport. It's very diverse. It's very also it's a double-edged sword. So this is Kent now. Fast forward few years after. This is Kent during one of our photo shoot after our stint in the IDBF World Dragon Boat Championships. So this is him being part of the elite team of PADS, being able to win 4 gold medals. So imagine the turn up, from being the person being told that you only have 6 months to live, to the person who have so much life and being able to live his life to the fullest. So this is Kent. Right now, Kent is one of the top seeded athletes that will be qualifying for the national team for the para OCR or the obstacle sports. He's ranked #1 now in the entire Philippines for having the fastest time in his category, sa amputee category, during the recent qualifiers. Okay, qualified Ninja Box qualifiers held here in Cebu. So this is him. And next slide, you can see with our other athletes as well. Now imagine our athletes have zero background in sports. So this is them now, who would have thought money ang ilang money ang turnout, no? It's a matter of determination, to be honest. From being able to wake up as early as 4 a.m. to train for the next 2 hours and train again in the afternoon. No, sport has been their lifestyle already. It has been their life, you know. And it's quite amazing how also sport was able to redeem back their life that was lost to them. So this is our athletes, other athletes, and can you see disability in that picture? Wala, wala may disability ang picture. Even me, no. When we train, it's quite inspiring to see how the athlete's determination. And now, when you have so much determination, physical disability, physical disability will be diminished na siya, mawala siya. And kaya mo asa na lang ang disability ma-feel, it's in the mindset. Sa mindset na lang kutob ang disability. When we if we relate this to the the athletes of pads, uh, you know, sharing to you a few of the last remaining portions of my presentation. We have this motto in the team, and I would like to share this motto, you know, this battle cry every time we race. And this is the battle cry of the team. Okay, slide 18, Miss Rosdin. So I like to share this battle, but I like to share our team battle cry, and this is, yeah, what's the secret of our success? You know, this is our motto. Our combined disabilities is our greatest strength. No, all your weaknesses, you combine it. It will not make you more weak, but it will make you stronger. And I think that's the secret of the success of PAD's Dragon Boat team. We combined all our disabilities, and these disabilities, you know, all the pain, all the struggles that we had before, we turned it into our own strength. And imagine, no, the strength of being able to participate again, being able to express everything that you have not expressed all your life through the sport. Imagine how strong that team is. No, wala na sila yung when they're seated there on the boat, wala na sila yung mga as you can say, mga hesitation, or wala na sila doubt. What they want is they want to finish strong. Dragon, in relation to to Dragon Boat as a sport, it's not about how you start the race, but it's how you finish strong during the race. Okay, some teams finish strong, but they end up finishing the last because they were not able to sustain the race, no, because they doubted themselves if they can finish. But with pads, it's different. No, we start slow and we finish strong. And I think that's the secret of why pads has been very successful as a team. For everyone's information, no, we do not compete with other athletes and disability. In the Philippines, we compete with the with the able-bodied teams because we're the only team, Dragon Boat team, that the only disabled team in the Philippines. Okay, so next slide. So I like to leave this quote. When Bral was interviewed by GMA, you know, during one of the TV programs, he said na walang tutulong sa sarili mo kundi ikaw lang. Kahit PWD ka, marami ka pang magagawa kasi buhay ka pa. Okay. And that's the positive attitude that we want to share to everyone, inside the program and outside to the people surrounding us, and to every people that we meet. Yeah, a positive mindset. And yeah, next slide. So this is Captain Ace or Arnold's tattooed hand, and it says there, no, fearless. It's how you overcome your fear and being able to move on, no, from all the adversities that you have encountered. And I think that's a beautiful message to everyone, regardless if you have disability or not. Okay, next slide. But you know, as you can say, no, as everyone would say, no one is an island. Okay, you have to PADS has a pool of volunteers, a pool of believers that's willing to provide support to everyone, to our members, because it's difficult when you don't have someone, no, someone behind you who is willing to support you, who's willing to yung agakon ka when we fail. The journey of the team was never like this. It's erratic. Okay, sometimes we have ups, mostly we have downs, but it's not about being, you know, failing. Failing is something is expected, but what's beautiful about it is how you're able to recover after the failure. Okay, just have we because we have everyone. We have the team behind us. Okay. We hope no not we hope that some of you would be able to be part of PAD's team, no, as a volunteer, as a mentor, and uh, develop leaders among ourselves. Okay, so we have the people behind the curtain, no, behind the limelight. We have the mentors, we have the volunteers behind the success of this team. Okay, next. And also lead by example. Okay, if you can say na one reason why the paddlers were really like focused, because they have a team captain, they have a leader who leads by example. It's hard when you say a lot of things but you're doing it differently. But with Arnold, with Arnold, no, present in the team, no, he's the guy that makaingon mo na, no, he walks the talk. He talks. He as a person is not very vocal, but he is very loud by in terms of how he he leads the team. So he makaingon ka, he walks the talk. Yes, he shows by example, not by just merely talking to people. Okay, next. And also, we believe that in sports, is when it's competitive, like Dragon Boat, we conduct a lot of research, innovation, and collaboration, and that's the beauty of adaptive sports. We collaborate with volunteers, we collaborate with specialists, experts, and then we innovate. No, we innovate on our approach to the sport and how we can elevate, the performance of our athletes, knowing that they have disabilities. And we do a lot of research in terms of the performance, or in terms of um debunking the myth of, or the traditional methods of training or performance appraisal of our athletes. So we conduct a lot of research. We collaborate with universities, we collaborate with specialists in getting the data that will be beneficial for our athletes and to improve also the performance of our team during the local and international races that we are participating. Okay, next. And the most important thing is that, we recognize the power of believing. It's just believe in yourself, just believe in the person among athletes. One of the beautiful things about this is that this is our first inaugural, this is our inaugural uniform, and we printed it there that no one, don't let anyone tell you you can't. And we in Dubbies, no, in one of our restaurants, we hang a framed uniform of the team, which was signed by the president, no, President Duterte. It's a very beautiful message that we always bring with them. No, it's a message of positivity. Okay, and that's why it's very meaningful to us, this uniform. Okay, next. So uh, before I end, no, this message is very beautiful. No, ang malakas pwedeng humina dahil sa attitude. Okay, but ang mahina pwedeng lumakas because of attitude. I think attitude plays a huge role in the program. That's why one of the things that we are or trying to develop, not only in the physicality of our athletes but also in the attitudinal and the mental side, no, the mental toughness of our athletes. Because I think this is a huge factor when we develop athletes among persons with disability. Is the attitude. Okay, and this is what most athletes lack. The attitude. Okay, next. Okay, teamwork makes the dream work. Okay, so this is a few of our photo. Every time we go into the race. Okay, next. Then nothing is impossible. So, one of the beautiful things this sport has brought to the team was we were able to meet a lot of people, including the President of the Philippines, being able to be recognized in the Congress and in the Senate. Next. Being able to be featured on TV, not because of our disabilities, but because of the achievements of the team. And one of the beautiful things that we can never forget was to be featured on the front page, no, or being the cover photo of Smile Magazine. No, if you're familiar with Cebu Pacific Magazine, so the 2020 January issue was the team, and we're so proud of that achievement. Okay. Okay, next. So this is the team now, no? Last February, okay, after meeting the president in 2019, we thought that this could be a good opportunity for us to talk to the president and request from him if the president can provide. We had this short conversation with President Duterte, and we shared to him our experience. No? When we were in Thailand or when we were in Hong Kong, we met also a lot of athletes with disabilities with their prostheses and everything. But PADS as a small organization, no, we can never afford in providing prosthetics to our athletes. And when we got the opportunity to win the World Championships, we thought of, okay, this could be a way out for our athletes to open the possibility of the ask, which is being able to provide prosthesis to 8 of our amputees. And when we had a conversation with the president in Malacanang, when he invited us, when he asked us, okay, what else do you want? And we immediately told him, sir, we want to have a new set of prosthetics for our athletes. And I think that's one thing na kulang na mo as an athlete. Because every time we travel, kami ray country na walay prosthesis. Okay? And I think prosthesis in the Philippines is very expensive. So, fast forward today, 2 years after, the guys you're seeing now in the picture, 8 of our amputees was given the opportunity to be provided with a state-of-the-art, brand new prosthetics made in Germany, care of Autobac. And these guys are the prosthetics are not ordinary because it is microchip technology. Okay, so So it's more or less may kag bio ko na siya. Bionic legs. Okay? Microchip technology, they just have to press the button of their phone app, and then the prosthetics can actually help them with running, weightlifting, CrossFit, jogging, and all the stuff that needs to be needed by an athlete. So these prosthetics also are not are waterproof. Okay, and then Autobac has provided them 6-year warranty in case na ma-wear and tear no ang prosthetics. So we're quite lucky. Without the sport, I think this will not be possible for our athletes. I think nag full circle na ang amo ang mga athletes in terms of self-actualization, in terms of, we're living the dream right now. And that's and I can assure you it was not an overnight sensation. It was blood, sweat, and tears for the last 4 years. So they really deserve this achievement. Okay, next. So I like to leave you guys with our battle cry bugsay hangtod mabuang. So this is one thing that we always shout before we race, bugsay hangtod mabuang. Literally, okay, it's about paddle until you lose yourself, and that's the yung that's something that we have to reflect on. When we want to achieve something, we have to really give it all until you lose yourself. You lose yourself in terms of a desire to really achieve the dream that you want to achieve, and that's the core of the strength of this team is that when you want to give something, you have to give it all. And yes, I hope this battle cry will make an imprint with you individually as you continue your life journey as a student, as a PT, and as a professional in the future. May our paths cross again, and I hope that maybe one of you will be part of our team, no? And thank you so much for this opportunity. And uh, I would like to leave you with a video of our story in Thailand. So I hope you enjoy this. So those who are interested to volunteer, okay, I will be leaving my contact number after this video.
Ito ang alay ko, ito ang storya mo. Alamat na kailangan makilala ng buong mundo. Isang pagpupugay, kailangan ipagdiwang. Pasasalamat at ika'y isinilang. Di pangkaraniwan para siyang superhero. Hinarap lahat ng pagsubok, yung iba hindi biro. Pero siyang misyon, kaya walang takot sumabak. Mga buhay na nagkasalalay sa kanyang pangarap. Parang pelikula, action, adventure, drama. May konting comedy, love story na pangmasa. Galing sa wala, akala mo talo na tapos. Yung pala siya yung bida, kaya lahat sila paos. Kasi sigaw, kahihiyaw, selebrasyon. Buong mundo magtataka, ibang okasyon. Itaas ang kamay, sumigaw ng hoy. Ito ang araw mo, bayaning Pinoy. Sa mga bida ito, pagkita ng husay dito sa liga ng buhay. Mga kamyon, mga dakila, hindi sumuko din ang paalila. Sa inspirasyon, karagdagang lakas. Salamat tumaan kayo sa tamang landas. Kami sa inyo ay saludo, saludo. Walang balang sumuko, walang planong gumuho. Tagumpay lang walang iba, binigay niyang buong puso. Hinarap lahat ng tuso, pati mga abuso. Natiling tapat sa pangarap hanggang naging uso. Ang buhay positibo, agresibo mismo. Kaya pinarangalan siyang bayaning Pilipino. Taas loob kahit pangodi na bigo, di nalito, di huminto. Inabot niya ang ginto. Ngayon tahimik na lahat ng kritiko. Bukang bibig na rin nila ang mga hirit mo. Hanggang nag-trending ang daming likes, di na makalimutan. Front page, headlines, hanggang sa kanto, laman ang kwentuhan. Pagdasay pinagsaluhan, pero di napupusan. Binigay ng lubusan hanggang sa huling hantungan. Buhay na buhay, walang humpay, tagumpay. Sa mga bida at tunay na nagpakita ng husay dito sa liga ng buhay. Mga kamyon, mga tagilan, hindi sumako din ang paalila. Sa inspirasyon, karagdagang lakas. Salamat tumaan kayo sa tamang landas. Kami sa inyo ay saludo, saludo. Sabi daw walang pag-asa, pero tinapos. Sabi daw imposible, pero di pa rin natakot. Sabi nila mahirap, pero nagpusige. Kaya lahat sila ngayon, sige lang sige. Nung lahat umurong, siya sumugod. Nung lahat lumubog, siya di nalunod. Natutong maglakad sa tubig, pananampalataya. Diyos ang kanyang agimat, kaya wala hindi kaya. Paglaki ko gusto ko maging katulad mo. Yeah. May pagmamalaki sa buong mundo. Ikaw ang dahilan kung ba't hindi ako susuko. Tapos puso pasasalamat, isa kang alamat, alamat. Sa mga bida na tunay na nagpakita ng husay dito sa liga ng buhay. Mga kamyon, mga tagilan, hindi sumako din ang paalila. Sa inspirasyon, karagdagang lakas. Salamat dumaan kayo sa tamang landas. Kami sa inyo ay saludo, saludo.
Thank you so
Hi,
much.
Pads! Grabe, isang karangalan na makasama yung music ko sa journey niyo dito sa sport na to. And man, kayo ang mga bayani ko. So, sobrang na-excite ako. Sana ma-meet ko kayo. Actually, hindi. Mami-meet ko kayo. Tuturuan niyo ako. Yes! I wanna paddle with you guys and I wanna support you. Yes. Whatever which way, kahit pa paano, gagawa natin ang paraan yan. I wanna make sure for next year's World Championships of France, wala kayong kakasin. Yes! Let's make sure that everything's gonna be paid for your flights, lodging. Hindi kayo magkukulang doon. Isipin nyo na lang yung competition, mag-practice kayo na mag-practice. Let's do it. I'm excited for you guys. Maraming salamat. Magkikita tayo next year, ha? Let's go, Pads!
Thank you.
So thank you, Sir JP, for that inspirational talk and sa inspirational video. So sir, na-mount balibo sa inspirational video. So,
So, sir, it is truly an honor for us to hear about your work and for what PADS aims to do, sir.
and we are also thankful to hear about the story of PADS Dragon boat racing team. And isn't it amazing, Chal, about what the PADS organization do and how the members of the Dragon boat racing team can break barriers? Not just them, but to all PWDs who continue to live life despite their disabilities.
Yes, Neil, I agree, like very much, Jude. So, it is truly inspiring, like how they're always maximizing the capabilities that they have despite their disability. It has never stopped them from achieving greatness. The disability is all in the mindset. Don't let anyone tell you you can't. As well as ang malakas pwedeng humina dahil sa attitude, and ang mahina pwede lumakas dahil sa attitude. And lastly, bugsay hantod mabuang. So these are just few of the statements that will truly stick by us. So from listening to the talk.
So right you are, Chal. So before we will proceed to our next speaker, okay, we will open the floor for our audience to ask questions.
So again, thank you for that insightful talk, Sir JP. Now let's move on to the open forum. So to our audience, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them now.
Um, Hello, good morning, sir. Good morning, sir
Good
JP.
morning.
Yeah. First of all,
Good
sir, I'd
morning,
like
Adam.
to. Yeah, first of all, I just like to say I think that I speak for all of the audience here that we really admire the work that you do. Sir, I have two questions for you. One is personal, sir. At what point in your life did you realize that this is what you wanted to do? And moreover, I'd also like to ask, how has the pandemic affected your organizational activities of PADS? Thank you, sir.
So thank you so much, Adam, for that. Yes. Before when I was still a child, I always I don't know I feel that I was really different. I would always ask myself, what's the purpose of me being here and being um unsa may I grew up in a very conservative environment. So parents, relatives, even the school that I was enrolled no was very conservative. So there's a lot of mga do's and don'ts. There's a lot of borders and everything. So I think that was one one factor as well. My mom is a rural health doctor that has disability also. She has mobility challenges. So we cannot actually I don't personally when we were in school I've never attended any family day activity. Kaya my mom cannot participate man. And that was one thing also that was affected me. No? So fast forward 2009 while I was I had a goal in my life, after graduating from nursing, after passing board exam, I thought na sige I will give myself 3 years. 3 years to gain experience, 3 years to take all the licensure exams and 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 complete my papers. 2009 was like a year no na kaya I was preparing myself to migrate in Canada. Okay, while I was preparing, PADS was also in a situation na it's in na the former program manager was also leaving. So it's either someone has to sit there or we have to totally close the organization. So kayong sayang pud ang milestone na nabuhat namo sa PADS. So I thought, okay, while waiting for that person na ma-hire to sit there, why not? Okay, I'll just sit here since I founded this organization. So I sat there as the program manager, and it was really different because during the first few months there was struggle because lisod man when you're acquainted with the hospital setup, then karon nanak ka sa development community, so lisod kayo ang adjustment. But one thing that struck me was, you know, the feeling of satisfaction gani when at the end of the day when you go home, you have this fullness of the heart, you have this feeling that you have achieved a lot of things. If you compare yourself sa hospital setup na makaingon kag you're just one of the sea of faces there. Unsay may ma-achieve nimo dia, it's expected of you. Unsay mo hang nabuhat karon murag templated na template part, you're part of the template. And when I started working with PAS no full time, nakaingon ko na murag it brought a lot of joy, no, deep inside. Lucky when I was working as a nurse. So dito I started I made a few extensions from 1 month. Yung ko sige siguro 3 months na bato ni ana na 6 months. Then wala na kibaw no nanak ko diri. Lubangan na yun nagstorya. So we totally abandoned the plan to migrate out in the other country and focus here. And I think not because, you know, I wanted to seek greener pastures, but I wanted to, you know, get that self-fulfillment, no, and inner happiness na feel ako of the work that I do now. The pandemic has been very yung challenging because dako siya impact sa amua and to everyone, especially to our athletes with disabilities. You know, as you can see, when you are already attuned to active lifestyle, you wake up as early as 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. in the morning and then go out and train, and in the afternoon, balik na ka. That has been the life of the athletes, no? And being able to be locked down, no, and quarantine for the last few months, no, was different. But you know, God works in mysterious ways. No, a lot of the athletes were displaced because of the pandemic. They were displaced sa ilang employment. They had a hard time supporting their own families. Daghan na tangkas trabaho, daghan na pug dili makalakaw because apil biyang PWD sa quarantine, no? What we did a few fundraisers to provide financial assistance just to yung preserve that dignity, no? Na the dignity within the team. Okay, we provided financial assistance instead of the dole out na yung food pack, so that they still have the opportunity to choose what food they want to eat or what they want to do with the financial assistance. Pero during the second round, medyo na lisod na ang there was already donor fatigue. Okay, we had a hard time fundraising already for the third round. But you know, it was a blessing in disguise because my wife was working in the hospital as one of the chief nurse here in Mandawi, and also I'm a food lover. So what I did was I was just I was sharing to her, you know, burgers. No, I create burgers for her, and then I posted one time in social media, and then it went viral. There were a lot of people ordering burgers. So we started uh, out of nowhere, a small business, a burger business, and last year, and I'm just happy na we were able to, and we will be celebrating our 1 year anniversary now, this next month, this May. And Dabis was established, Dabis Ultimate Burgers was established. So this has been like the bread and butter of our athletes. So we hired them directly here to work as our employees. So all, you know, 15 of our athletes na nawadag employment during the pandemic, most of them are working here at Dabis, and we're happy that we're able to help them, you know, in the midst of this pandemic and trying times. And also, we got a special permit from the local IATF to resume training no, last October. So the trainings are ongoing, uh, but with safety and health precautions. So we're thriving this pandemic. So thank you for that question.
Thank you, sir.
Uh, there's a question, sir, ba sa chat box. So it says nga, other than Dragon Boat, what other programs do you do for people with disabilities?
So daghan we Dragon Boat is one of our flagship program, and but we have a lot of things to offer. No? We have aside from Dragon Boat, we have CrossFit, we have circuit training, we have wheelchair basketball. If you want to try it, no, sitting volleyball. We inaugurate a few sports now wala sa Cebu before. So we introduced wheelchair basketball, sitting volleyball, and then a few months ago we launched. We have stand-up paddling, kayak, adaptive kayak, and then last month we launched our adaptive OCR, obstacle sports. Um, so we have a lot of things, no, and the program does not limit to persons with disability alone, no. Okay, adaptive sports man, no, we ang amo ang gi-offer na philosophy. So it's everyone regardless if you don't have disability, uh, and you want to try the sport, you can actually be part of PADS because sa program nado very diverse ang mga we want to inject diversity in the program as well para dili pod sila mayong exclusive sa mga persons with disability because we want them to also explore and meet other cultures, other people, or vast diversified group of people within the sport.
Okay, thank you, Ato sir. So,
Sir, mabisita niya may pohon sa inyong Dovis Burger, sir.
pangaon niya, sir.
Yes.
Kasi
So
tanawag sa
yeah, I look forward. Yes. So yeah, we are located here beside UV Gulyas, no, Mandaue, and just look for the uh, rainbow umbrellas, no, so you can meet. Aside from trying our burgers, no, you can meet also. It's a different experience when you are being served by, our deaf waiters. Our chefs are deaf and everything. Okay, so yeah, the burger experience is really different. And we're moving to a better, bigger location in next coming month. So that we can accommodate more people, or we can accommodate the entire 3B of, of this class.
pohon, sir. O mahimutang na kayo. Mabisita dyan mi, sir.
Yes. For the meantime, no, you can have your burgers delivered at your home. So we do online delivery. So just visit our Facebook page.
Okay, sir. So again, sir, I would like Sir JP. Thank you very much. So I'm sure nga kaninga talk jud has touched the hearts of our audiences.
So, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, and see you. See you soon. And thank you for this opportunity. May the story of pads made a huge impact and made day to day. And I hope na ma-influence din siya, no, as you develop into a professional healthcare worker and being able to impact more lives, no, as a physical therapist in the future. So thank you so much, and God bless everyone, and more power, and congratulations to the organizers of this event.
Thank you very
Thank
much,
you,
sir.
sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So, the next speaker is a practicing physical medicine and rehabilitation specialist in Cebu Rehab Medics, Chongwa Hospital, and in Cebu Solutions, Perpetual Socorro Hospital. He is also an assistant professor at Velez College sa College of Physical Therapy and um, our current imaging na professor. So let us welcome Dr. Kenneth Ng to talk about geriatric rehabilitation or also known as rehabilitation for the aged.
Hello, good afternoon. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning,
Morning,
Doc.
Doc.
Thank you for inviting me to present in your sa ninyo, ha? Community-based rehab, no?
Yes, Doc.
Ah, CBR ni ninyo. Okay, so okay. Makakita na mo sa akong screen, no?
Yes, Doc. Makita ra, Doc.
Okay, so I will be discussing about geriatric rehabilitation. As you can see, nowadays, our senior citizens are considered to be on the vulnerable group, no? Considering that we are in pandemic, they are the type of people who are kanang easily maigo sa COVID virus, no? And that's why a lot of our senior citizens tend to be kanang staying at home. A lot of them gets depressed, no? And a lot of them had been, aside from mental health issues, a lot of them had already showed signs of deconditioning, no? Because most of them has been staying at home for more than a year already, no? So actually, sa Philippine Academy of Rehab Medicine, we have launched certain programs for kaning mga senior citizen in 2019. The Philippine Academy of Rehab Medicine held a national drive, no, to educate mga senior citizen on exercises and kanang mga health programs, no, to promote healthy aging. And actually, this is also an opportunity for you to show that there is what we call the fragility fracture network, no. This is a group of physicians who are not only rehab but also mga ortho and mga orthopedic and mga surgeons, as well as mga other including also mga physical therapists, no, who are interested in knowing more about fractures, no. As you can see, ang mga senior na to are prone to developing fragility fracture brought about by fall, no. So actually, ang initial ninyong invitation was to talk about kanang vaccination, no? Our senior citizens are actually included in the A2, no? A2 category sa ato ang vaccination, no? And supposed to be after all the healthcare workers had been given vaccination, ang sunod na would be the senior citizen as well as the A3 katong person with comorbidities such as hypertension, diabetes, obesity, no? So kana siya, ang mga senior citizen will be vaccinated after the mga A1 group has been injected with the vaccination. And I received the second dose of vaccination and already on the third day of post-vaccine. So let us talk first about the aging nerve biology. So actually, when you start aging, there is gradual deterioration of sensory modalities such as abnormalities in the vibration perception, especially the lower extremities are noted, touch sensitivities, and index finger touch threshold. Also, for your nerve conduction, there is noted decline in the nerve conduction velocity by 1 to 2 meters per second every decade more than 50 years old. And there is an increase in the distal motor latency and decrease in amplitude of the motor response with advanced aging. For the musculoskeletal system, we also noted a decrease in the number of the motor units as and also there is noted decrease in overall muscle mass, decrease in muscle fiber size, number of myofibrils, concentration of mitochondrial enzymes, and the muscle strength is relatively preserved throughout the middle age, but by the age of 60 to 90 years old, there is noted a decrease in muscle strength by 20 to 30%. So this is what we call kanang sarcopenia. Okay. Also in the elderly, we should take note of different geriatric syndromes such as your polypharmacy, your incontinence, dementia, false immobility, malnutrition, delirium. No? So these are the things that we should consider in the aging population. So as you can see, there are variable factors that results to the geriatric syndromes, and all of these are considered a vicious cycle. No? So with aging, we can see that there is a reduced energy expenditure, chronic undernutrition, which leads to decrease in muscle mass or sarcopenia, and also there is decreased metabolic rate. So these all are connected with one another and forms a vicious cycle and leads to what we call a condition called frailty, okay, or age and disease related loss of adaptation. So for sarcopenia, the muscle power is decreased by 1.4 to 2.5% per year beyond the age of 60 years old. And as you can see, our aging mga lolo and lola are noted to have makanotice ka the way they walk, no? So this is because kanang the gait speed declined by 0.2% per year up to the age of 63 years old, then 1.6% after the age of 63 years old. These gait changes and balance problem as well as sensory problem leads to increased predisposition to falls. Also, there is increased stride-to-stride variability in length, increased stride-to-stride variability in speed, and increased time of double support phase. Okay, so whenever we talk about balance, we always go back to the concept of center of gravity of the body, which is at the S2, no, of our sacral spine, no, and of course, stability is dependent on the center of mass being directly above the base of support. So in this case, in our picture, this is an unstable position, whereas if your center of mass is directly above your base of support, such as when you're standing and the legs are spread out, so this is a better stable position as compared to this one, no? Also, there are various variable that we measure, such as your step length, stride length, no? And sometimes we measure this in order to see if there are changes in your gait, no? So studies have shown that gait speed is a predictor of survival and possible biomarkers of health status in relatively healthy older adults. Also, we can use several scales like your Berg balance scale, no? So this is an example of the Berg balance scale, no? So it is a checklist that you can do, and actually a score of so this is a scale that predicts fall, and a score of less than 40 means there is a high chances of fall. Okay. Also, we can use the time up and go test in order to monitor progress in our physiotherapy, no? And as well as the 6-minute walk test. So physical exercises can be used to improve strength, range of motion, balance, and coordination. And the exercise typically starts with formal physical therapy followed by a home program that the patient can continue doing. In our case, these days, because senior citizens have limited opportunity to go outside and do physical therapy, then we some of our in your cases, no, so you are offering kanang mga tele rehab sessions, no, or teletherapy sessions, which are also effective way in order to motivate our elderly patients to do physical exercises at home, no. In elderly patients, each physical therapy prescription must be individualized for the patient's diagnosis and condition. So our exercise goals are as follows, no? Improve the postural alignment, body mechanics, and static postural control, dynamic postural control, adaptation of balance skills for varying tasks and environmental conditions, use of sensory monitoring for postural control, and safety awareness and compensatory strategies for fall prevention. So the postural control is the ability of the body to position in space for stability and orientation, whereas the postural orientation is the ability to maintain normal alignment relationships between the various body segments and between the body and the environment. So I think you are doing this already or discussing this sa inyong therapeutic exercises, no? So very important ang 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 assessment and kanang patient education, no? Also, we can modify certain exercises, especially nowadays that patients, our elderly patients are at home. So we can teach them kaning mga kitchen sink exercises, no? Just like this. As well as kanang mga actually before pandemic, nindot yun ta to katong mga exercises that aside from promoting uh, physical movement kanang lagi doon tayo socialization, no? In this case kanang mga group exercises are supposed to be more beneficial especially among our elderly, no. Naiuban doing kanang mga aquatic exercises, kanang mga slow dances like your eurythmy are good exercises for elderly. Hopefully after this pandemic, if we achieve kanang herd immunity, we can already resume this type of activities for our elderly, no? Unless kanang mo prolong yun ang pandemic and probably ang option ng yun in order for you to do this to your elderly is to create a bubble, no? Kanang bubble wherein kana sila, mga elderly nga, in a certain community nga, sure gyud nga walay COVID and they can do these exercises together, no? Also, dynamic postural exercises such as these, no, mga exercise ball exercise, kan mga stability exercises and mga plank. These are for mga advanced na mga exercises as well as these, no. In our center, we have the wobble. We have this kaning mga balance trainer. Patient is can stand on a kanang platform and then there is a kanang computer wherein they can try to catch the apple or move certain direction associated sa games, no, para maka-improve sad siya sa imuhang balance. Also, there are studies showing that doing multitask or dual task training is more effective in rather than single task activities in your exercises. Okay, kana mga exercises that are useful for elderly, na especially aquatic exercises, especially kana mga patients who have joint problems, no, as well as balance problem, dindot gyud ang aquatic exercises. However, ang usa ka limitation in our country is that dili heated atong pool, although our environment is already tropical, a lot of our elderly still find the water cold, no, whenever they do aquatic exercises. Also, other exercises are Tai Chi, no, improves the balance and well-being of elderly. So, it has been shown that Tai Chi reduces frailty and fall in older people, no? And there are Also, we should teach our patients strategies to improve safety and reduce fall risk, such as in the house, no, kanang mga potentially dangerous situations such as turning, sit to stand, transfers, reaching, bending over, stair climbing. So it would be helpful to improve the kanang lighting condition inside the house, put some railings, no, in order to support our elderly patients whenever they are moving inside and outside the house, no. Also, also, fall causes 90% of the fractures of the forearm, hip, and pelvis in the elderly, and these are possible mga risk factors for falls in elderly, such as the use of sedatives, antidepressants, antipsychotic medications. So whenever, so kanang the doctor handling the patient should streamline, no, should evaluate kaning mga medications taken to make sure that the patient doesn't become dizzy or sleepy during the daytime para dili sila mo predispose sa fall, no. Also modify the environment by putting kani mga railings, no, kana mga ramp, no, and then mga anti-slip na mga mat sa imuhang toilet, no, as well as imong stairs, no. Also you can put kaning mga uh, lift, no, lift system in order to bring them up and down the stairs, no. So there are several contraindications to participate to exercise, and these are as follows, no. Kani mga severe nga mga cardiac conditions that prevent these patients to participate in exercises. So that's why ang exercises should be modified in order to prevent certain complications. So also we do certain checklists such as this, no. This is taken from the exercise is medicine or EIM manual. Mura gyud siya very quick, no, physical activity readiness questionnaire or PARQ in order to see if your patient needs further evaluation or not, no. So some of these questions include if you have cardiac condition, if you have chest pain during physical activity, no, if you have dizziness or bone joint problem. If the answer is yes, then you should tell your physician which answers you answered yes, okay? And then the physician can perhaps do further evaluation like doing a cardiac stress test, ECG, to the echo, no? In order to see kung unsay exercises nga pwede sa imong patient. Also, for the American College of Sports Medicine guidelines for older adults, actually somehow similar to the general exercise recommendation, except that the guidelines state that if the older adult cannot do 150-minute of moderate intensity aerobic activity because of chronic condition, pwede ka siya i-modify, no. Hindi necessarily nga dapat 150-minute yun per week, no. Also, the type of exercise is any modality that does not impose excessive orthopedic stress. So walking is the most common type of activity. Aquatic exercises and stationary cycle exercises may be advantageous for those with limited tolerance to weight bearing. Also, for flexibility exercises, we do static instead of ballistic exercises. And activity should be low at the outset for older adults who are highly deconditioned, functionally limited, or have chronic conditions that affect their ability to perform physical tasks. The progression of activity should be individualized and tailored to increase tolerance and preference. No? A conservative approach may be necessary for most deconditioned and physically limited older adults. Also, kani ang mga type of exercises, no? So basically kani ang mga exercises can be used, no? So kana mga example of our highly ano no, highly mga highly trained mga elderly individuals no used to be they are the very good mga bodybuilders. Now they have age but still physically active no. So anyway, so that's all for today, and thank you very much no. Hmm.
So thank you, Doc.
Thank you for that informative talk, Doc Kenneth. So
Mm.
this has spread more awareness regarding GERIA patients.
Yeah.
Our lolos and lolas are the most vulnerable groups sa atong society. So they really require delicate care. So what do you think, Neil?
Tinood yun na Charles, so I agree. So we should always protect our cute lolas and lolas at all costs. And then one of the most important factors that we have to consider kay our environmental modifications like sa ilang house, and not just sa ilang house but also sa community. Everywhere they go, to provide a more accessible environment. And then this may be a simple thing to do, but can greatly benefit our lolas and lolas.
So yeah, that's true, Neil. Mo man ni ang some of the things nga we have learned sa physical therapy. So before we proceed to the next part of the program, we would like to open the floor for questions.
So if you have any questions, feel free to ask them now.
Hello, Doc. Good morning. I'd
Yes.
like to ask Doc, since you mentioned earlier that right now it's been a few days after your second shot sa vaccination, di ba, Doc?
Mm. Yes.
May I ask, Doc, what did you experience during the vaccination process and everything?
Moto. That's why, di ba, we're supposed to have a class sa Tuesday, no? I,
Ah,
wala sa ko nag-class kay actually, after that, I have arm pain, no? Actually, the
mm,
second dose of vaccination is mas painful ang second, in my experience, ha, mas painful ang second dose than the first dose, no? Mas na-experience kog arm ka ng post-injection pain. And after that, I felt mga 2 days nga medyo feeling tired ko. And I felt nga murag kog na ay lymphadenopathy. Murag kog mag sore throat, no? But actually, wala man siya nahulog yun na sore throat. But I just felt lang nga somehow na ay murag lump sa imong throat bitaw. Nga padung
mm,
kag tonsillitis ba. And kana lang siya na feeling. But after the 2 days, nawala naman. There was no fever, wala ano. Um, we received kaning CoronaVac, no? Katong mga initial, katong Sinovac vaccine. But apparently, majority of our colleagues, no? Katong mga physical therapists namo are have taken have received the AstraZeneca, no? Ang AstraZeneca actually na note lang namo nga mas daghan siya side effect actually as compared to the Sinovac, no? Ang mga physical therapists nga nag-duty actually a lot of them didn't didn't go to work the next day, no, because of severe kanang myalgia, no, kanang kapuyon gid sila. They have night sweats, no, they have some fever at night, no. Hmm. But surprisingly kaning sa AstraZeneca kato mga senior citizen didn't feel much symptoms, no, as compared to the younger ones sa AstraZeneca. Whereas ang Sinovac vaccine, so far, very minimal lang ang mga side effects sa Sinovac. Among my peers, mga doctors who had received the vaccine, I think there was only one person lang nga akong nakaila nga kanang experience of allergic reaction. After the vaccination, na lang siya yung mga nag-flushing siya, murag namula yung skin, na yung more rashes. But the good thing about what we're doing right now is that most of the vaccination are being held sa mga hospital, no? So actually there is always a standby na mga usually the vaccination are being done near the emergency room method, no? So if you have difficulty breathing or ano ma-injection na naka right away with antidote, no? Like kanang epinephrine or kaning imong hydrocortisone, mahatag ra siya immediately para dili mag-complicate, no? So kana ra siya.
Sige, Doc. Thank you, Doc.
And hopefully soon, no, everyone can get the vaccine sooner. Actually, most of us have volunteered to become part of the kaning project Balik Buhay project na sa Cebu City, wherein we will be volunteering sa mga vaccination site to administer the vaccine para paspas kayo ang vaccination, so that as soon as possible we can vaccinate as many people as we can para we can achieve herd immunity, no? 70 to 80% of the population, if they get to become vaccinated, there is a less chance of community transmission, and we can hopefully go back to your usual way of life, no? Makaklase na ta physically, you can go back to Velez College. Kana lang. But
So, Doc,
actually, ang atong imaging class, no? I like it better nga naga-online ta, because ang akong issue before with imaging class, ang inyong room bitaw sa Velez building ba, sa classroom ninyo, whenever I show images sa screen, hayag kayo, and then
Dili maklaro.
ang inyong projector is not really very nice bitaw.
Yes, Doc.
Dili kay nindot mag-teach imaging with physical sa dito sa inyong building ba. Supposed to be dark room man gyud para maklaro, especially we're showing x-rays bitaw. Bati gyud dito mag-teach imaging. So that's why better nako. Kana lang.
So, Doc, na ko'y question, Doc ba?
Mm.
Regarding gani sa face-to-face internship, Doc, if madayon gid kay na may chance na ma-vaccinated mi ana, Doc, no?
As of now man gyud, no, ang unsay advice ninyo sa Velez College. Actually, I'm not really in communication kayo with Sir Romel, no, Kabasor, regarding sa anak nga ano ba, ingana nga mga kaninga mga talks about the internship, no. But as far as I know karon, ang sa Velez man gyud limited kayong vaccine nga gihatag sa Velez as compared to other major hospitals ba, kay ang Velez is a small hospital man gyud, no, considering compared to other hospital. So actually nagka-kulang gani may vaccine sa ubang healthcare workers, no. So and right now murag ang priority sa Velez is to give the vaccine also sa mga medical interns nga nag-duty. Okay, they already started going on duty naman last month. Ito mga MI. But hopefully, basin kung naa pa may mga subsequent nga mga vaccines nga mga bot, no, in the next few months, no, or few weeks, kung madaghan na ang supply sa vaccine, then probably kano sa day mo mag-internship supposedly?
Next sem na, Doc, after this nga semester.
Which is unsa nga bulan?
August.
Around August, Doc.
August. Hopefully, no? Hopefully by then, daghan na kayo mabaksinate na. Okay, as far as I know, murag next week naman mag-start ang vaccination drive sa city. Pero but then we still have to follow katong categories bitaw na A2, A3, kana before katong mga seniors then mga people with comorbidities, and then sunod na are the general population. Sige lang, hang on lang. Gamay na lang yun. Ang importante, everybody is safe right now, no? We should be thankful nga at least despite the pandemic, naka-continue gyapon mo sa inyong education, no?
Yes.
Although laay lang, no? Kapoy na kayo staying at home. Na natay mga kanang fatigue bitaw sa technology fatigue.
Doc, last day, Doc, may question, Doc, ba? Kanang, say set up karon kay COVID man sila ba sa geria nga patients?
Actually, among center are open raman actually for consultation. Although personally, I try to lessen the sessions bitaw as much as possible instead of the usual nga in 1 week, 2 or 3 times a week gid sila moawi. I try to lessen the frequency lang of visit diri sa rehab center, no. I also, as much as possible, kung pwede ka ng home exercises lang during the first session, then subsequently ka ng and kung pwede ka ng mga tele-rehab lang no? Actually, doing man ang Velez College o ka ng teletherapy, di ba? So, a lot of my patients, ako resad gina-enroll sa teletherapy sa Velez. Velez teletherapy nga site na sa Facebook. Okay, so far sa imaging class, okay mo.
Yes, Doc.
Yes, Doc.
Okay ka mo sa exam na ko.
Yes, Doc. Yes, Doc.
Okay yung midterm. Mas lisod ang midterm na.
Yes, Doc.
Medyo mas lisod daw siya, Doc, compared sa mga 10-item na quizzes na to.
Lagi. Sige lang.
Okay, so wala na ilain questions.
Okay, so if you have further questions later, just send me a chat sa atong team, Microsoft team. Mo reply raman ko dito. Okay?
Okay, Doc. So thank you again, Doc,
Sige.
for your time and for discussing what we
welcome.
can do regarding the geriatric rehabilitation or rehabilitation for the older population.
Thank you, Sir Doc, for sharing with us ng sa imong experience regarding COVID vaccination. So, I just hope, Doc, na dili ta mag 10-item quiz regarding sa geriatric rehab.
Wala man na appeal. This is not part of our ano
Okay.
rin siya. Sige. Okay, sige. See you next Tuesday and Thursday. Ha?
Thank you very much for your time,
Thank
Doc.
you very much, Doc.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye, Doc.
So let us now give the floor to Mark Valmoria for the closing remarks.
To be followed by our closing prayer by Rosedin Torre.
Okay, so since Doc and Sir JP have already left, so I would just like to thank them again for sharing their knowledge and expertise that is very much relevant to this day, especially during this situation that we are in a pandemic. So we are very grateful now we are given the chance to be able to experience this short webinar. So once again, thank you to both of our speakers, and I hope that everyone has learned something very important today. So.
Okay, so For our closing prayer, let us put ourselves in the most holy presence of God. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Heavenly Father, as we come to an end of our time together, we thank you for what has been accomplished here today. May the matters discussed serve as a catalyst to move us forward and cause us to advance and see growth in all areas of our lives. May we leave here recognizing you are the God of all wisdom and you are willing to lend us forward. This we pray in the name of Lord Jesus. Amen. In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
So thank you everyone for attending this webinar and to our speakers who gave time to talk and participate in this webinar.
So for everyone yang attend, thank you very much for coming and joining the webinar. I hope nga naamoy take away from listening to our speakers. So thank you sad to Miss Christine Redas who made all this possible. So this has been Fergus Jalan Harina.
And Neil Angelo Peteros, signing off.
So have a good
Have a
day
good
and God
day and
bless.
God bless. Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank you, everyone.
Much love.
Much love.
Thank you.
Picture.
Picture.
Take a picture.
Upat ni kabuk. Tikol na kalos.
Hey, Pat.